the U.S. House of Representatives just passed a defense bill that will now automatically register men 18 to 26 for the draft. Yes, the Selective Service is already mandating all males that are U.S. citizens aged 18 to 24 to be registered for potential military purposes. That age now got expanded. This, as in Russia, there already is mandatory conscription of individuals into the military. The same is, of course, in Ukraine, where they just started their own prisoner battalion as well. Russia came out with a peace proposal in order to end this war, which quickly was ended by NATO and Volodymyr Zelensky that automatically said no. As now we have a, quote, peace summit of 80 nations that are saying that they want to respect Ukraine's territorial integrity, as the Prime Minister of Italy during the G7 meetings came out and said, quote, if Russia doesn't agree to our terms, we will force them to surrender, as it looks like this conflict will be going on for a very long time. Sign up to lookunfiltered.com. Even if you can't be a part of the nature hike this upcoming Friday at noon, you could at least help support the future growth of it. As again, going out there, getting tickets, getting hotels, it costs money. Your support really does mean a lot. And I have promised you, we will be doing nature hikes all over the United States. With your support, we will do them everywhere.
I'm going to tell them this week, get a VIP guest, go on a nature hike, make a show out of it. The whole thing pays for itself. All right, so what do we hear there? We heard scary words like conscription. Now, traditionally, an enemy army would come through, conquer you, take the women for itself, and conscript the men. It's just steal the men from the town. Now you're part of Napoleon's army. Let's go to the next town and do the same thing, jack them. And before you know it, you got a whole mess over there in Europe. So conscription has a long history, and I don't know that, I mean, we already have kind of selective service, and Trump says he wants everybody. He wants it to be like the IDF, where everyone has to serve national military service and these sort of things. So, I don't know.
Well, isn't the IDF, don't they require
that's how they,
military service over there?
Well, we're just taking, like, we took the TSA, all the stuff that goes on at the airport, that's all the Israeli security plan that got brought here. This is another Israeli thing that they're going to bring here, or you might say it's a Swiss thing. Now, I think it's cool in Switzerland. Not so cool when you're using it to colonize, right? So that's the difference. Swiss people aren't trying to colonize. They're well armed and nobody messes with them. I respect that. I got to train everybody in my country to be in the military because we're taking other people's land and they always want to take it back. That's not the good dynamic. But I did hear encouraging words in there like peace summit. And I thought, yeah, the problem was they've been trying to take a peace the whole time. And that's why there's war over there, because you have other countries that aren't Ukraine involved in provoking Russia and what they want to be like a World War III. And Russia's a huge, it's the largest country on earth. It has vast resources, and they're very stubborn people. So if you go pissing them off and they feel like they're on death ground, this goes back to Sun Tzu. You never paint your enemy into death ground. You always give them egress so that they can escape and you can fight in a more fair way. Because if you fight them on death ground, you're probably going to lose. And that's what happened at Tora Bora, and there's a whole bunch of military history that shows that. So you don't really want to go pushing Putin's buttons, and you don't want Putin pushing those buttons. But NATO definitely is using Ukraine, and then we're going to get to the Lindsey Graham clip. You're going to hear him say it. It's like, this is why we're in Ukraine. This is why we sent like nearly $1 trillion at this point over there. It's been hundreds and hundreds of billions. What's the next number? You add a zero, that turns into trillions. So that's a lot of money. And they threw, so there's a lot going on there. But yeah, I mean, the situation is just building up to, it's like watching a volcano start to like build up pressure, and you're like, move back.
Yeah, and that's what I was hearing. Like, they're talking about how they're not being happy with these peace agreement talks. Like they're going to turn them down because they're not done laundering their money. That's right. Not even on the table. That's not an option for them to stop the war now. So while they're denying peace talks on the one hand, and while at the same time ramping up here at home, like implementing drafts, that's so insane, man. That's so insane. So now it's like, I feel like we have flexed our civil disobedience muscle quite a bit. We've been working on that the last few years. I think a lot of people are like, this is going to be the real deal.
Put them all in boot camp. That'll fix it.
Well, like those of us that got really thick skin over the last few years are really going to have to, like help rally the youngsters and be like, nope, you guys civil disobedience. Like we're gonna rally behind you. In fact, I'm over here looking up. I asked AI like, what's a full list of ways to be disqualified from the military draft? And there's some interesting ones on here. It says having braces, so you can just go out and get braces real quick.
Being 420 friendly, I'm pretty sure that people get dismissed. Still,
there you go. There you go. It said uncontrolled bedwetting. So just
that's a good one.
Pee the bed a lot. Unresolved bedwetting. There you go. And so there's ways, folks.
There's ways, but don't bet on any single way. You got to be like, I'm a dope smoking, bedwetting, get that whole list together. Because you watch like the whole show MASH was about Klinger trying to get out on Section 8. And they wouldn't let him out. They're like, we see you playing the game, so we're gonna let you keep playing the game. Such things go on. That was about the Korean War too. It was a popular show because it was during the Vietnam War, but they didn't want to show you the horrors of Vietnam, so they just showed you Korea.
Well, that's the funny thing is that isn't that why he dressed like a woman? Was because if you're gay, they kicked you out of the military, right?
Well, they said Section 8 back then was like if you're crazy. And he did a variety of things, not just the cross-dressing back then.
Yeah.
Though back then, according to the DSM, I think it was a classified type of situation. Not classified like national security, but it was classified as a type of psychosis. According to the book.
Now they pay for you to get your genitals removed. Like we've come a long way since
I think the military
War,
is one of the first places to start paying for that. Like when they did the conversion for Bradley Manning, the Chelsea Manning. Right? Yeah. They paid for that. That happened while he was incarcerated after he leaked that stuff to WikiLeaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of WikiLeaks,
wild.
I occasionally leak things out of my Twitter. Let's see. Did anyone see this? Oh, a couple people saw the tweet tonight. I wanted to draw your attention to, I can't get the store to show the graphic on the header. I don't know. They got a problem. But in the meanwhile, we still have all these great designs. I added new designs this past week. The website is Tragedy and Hope. I don't like that one. How about this? teespring.com/stores/tragedy and hope, because their new URL is longer than the old one. But as you go down, you see you got Felon for Prez, you got Freedom, and we got GTW on the back of these new shirts. And there's a ton to choose from. A bunch of different colors. These aren't the only colors. That's just how it shows up. Because I'm working to get off of the Teespring because I don't like their customer service. Last but not least, I wanted to show you guys this. We have a Godfather offer going on over at Autonomy. Because we have a problem. We got a problem. We got a lot of people interested, and it's like they start into the Appalachian Trail and they don't show up at the other end. We're going to go in and find some of the people that are lost. The way we're going to find them is I figured they would have gotten into the course if they could. So let's lower the bar. Let's find out what's the excuse keeping you out. We have time to have these meetings between seasons. We're about to launch the season 12 launch campaign for season 12 in July. So like this is the best time of the year to get in as far as prices, because the prices are going to go up from now till September when we launch it. And as it gets more full, the prices are more stiff. Right now, we're looking to clear that list and get people who have like got some challenges. And there's a variety of ways we can do that. But I call it a Godfather offer because the definition is it's not just an offer you can't refuse. The reason you can't refuse it is because me, the business owner, I stay up a little bit at night, losing sleep, wondering if I'm giving you too much value, making it too easy to get in. And that's a good place to meet people, because if it gets any easier than that, then they don't show up for themselves, then they don't get the results. But we just graduated, Friday night, we graduated season 11, and so many people had incredible breakthroughs. There was one student, I'm not going to say his name, but I'm very proud because he joined in season 4 and he just now graduated. It's not that it takes you 7 years to get, or 7 seasons to get through the course, but when you go like a season or 2 and then you miss 3 seasons and then you come back and then you've never fully persisted, because some people are still learning. Like here's what we teach: how to show up for yourself, and then how to show up for yourself consistently until you see the results. And then once you can do that, then you can get higher value skills. But in this case, this student, one of the problems that many people have is like you start showing up for yourself, but then you quit before you see the results. So season 4 didn't get there. Season 5 didn't get there. Season 6, 7, 8 didn't come. And then seasons 9, 10, and then 11, he just graduated. And that just shows like if you come back and you keep showing up for yourself, like that's the longest I think that someone's, but there's other people who have come back many times and still not gone to that completion for themselves. It's only when you get to completion that you see the results. And that's one of the first things we try to teach people in the course, because once you know that, then it's worth showing up for yourself for the rest of the skills that we teach. So the website for that is getautonomy.info. We're going to PorkFest this week. You're going to see a lot of activity going on from there. PorkFest is a once a year in real life event. This is a picture from Red Pill Expo right here. That was the first year. Those are all Autonomy grads that went to Red Pill. So if you want to outgrow your status quo, go to getautonomy.info. There, I made it rhyme.
Everyone's doing some kind of self-help these days, and you can find a million self-help courses out there. Most other courses out there are hosting lectures. They're hosting videos, they're maybe even doing Q&As, and these are great starting points to encourage learning. But at Autonomy, we believe that hands-on practice is the best way to really lock in what we're learning. There's no better way to gain confidence and mastery than through action. After each lecture, we practice the concepts we've learned with other students, giving and receiving feedback in a non-judgmental environment. The result is mastery of concepts like entrepreneurship, ethical sales, and self-reliance in an environment that directly translates to the real world. Plus, you make connections with other like-minded individuals who are learning right alongside you, and you have a lifetime membership in the community. The Autonomy course with Richard Grove equips you with confidence, competence, and courage in a world filled with confusion and noise. You can learn more at getautonomy.info. We'll see you there.
What makes the Grand Theft World podcast unique, invigorating, exciting, and informative? Most other podcasts out there are either doing straight up interviews or they're just covering the daily news. They're covering current events from the day they happened. And that is effective. It's useful. It's a great starting point. And then sometimes these current events change during the week past the first story. So we like to give it a little time. You have to wait till some of the dust settles on these stories in order to give them accurate coverage. And the other thing that's really missing in the media landscape is covering the articles that are coming out every day. That's great. That's necessary. But who's bringing in contextual history so that you can understand what has been going on for decades and decades to lead up to the machinations and actions that we see unfolding today? So what we do here on the podcast is we cover current events. Many of these things are censored, but we wait about a week. As a forensic historian, I focused mainly through my career on the history of globalism and collectivism and things that they call maybe the New World Order. There's a lot of facts to these sort of circumstances, groups, events, activities, working groups that they've had over time. So for Grand Theft World listeners, we not only break down the current events, most of which that are censored during the week, we provide you with contextual history, we give you the source notes, the references, we do deep dives, and this really empowers you with an understanding of context and history so that you can make more informed decisions in your life. There's also a community, a membership where you guys can actually ask questions and we can get into the show and we can share evidence. And there's a town hall weekly for Grand Theft World for those who listen to it and are interested in covering the stories that we don't get to during a 6-hour show. Listening to it an hour a day, you could easily consume the week's news, but you're going to have substance and meaning and context and understanding. And with that, you can make higher quality decisions in your life. So if you're interested in more quality in your life, go to grandtheftworld.com, click podcast at the top, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
These allegations are false.
This isn't Grand Theft Auto, folks. This isn't a video game.
What are the most surprising things that you discovered once you started pulling on that thread? Who he was connected to, what institutions he was influential over, what events he participated in?
Come on, man. What are we talking about? Come on, man. No.
You don't have to think about it, dude.
I got this quote because you said you didn't know much about Klaus Schwab. I made it my job to, as soon as this happened, I'm like, okay, this guy's their front man. Let me learn about the official history of the World Economic Forum. I got their 40-year history. I got every book that Klaus Schwab has written or ghostwritten. I went through those books. This is one of the most interesting passages.
Come on, man. Come on.